welcome to the Blackboard presentation, where we're going to be talking about innovation from education, the three exciting trends that higher education are using, and how corporate L&D should really be using those to engage their learners. So firstly, just a little bit of background on Blackboard. We're in this space to actually make a difference to the way that people actually train and develop their learners, so they become more proficient and more effective in everything that they do. And we do that by providing really innovative learning technologies that enable you to deliver personalized, engaging, and connected learning experiences to your learners. So what are the three trends that we're going to be talking about today? Well, firstly, we're going to be talking about competency-based learning. Secondly, we're going to be talking about open badges. And thirdly, we're going to talk about a single place for all learning. So why are Blackboard the most qualified organization to discuss these trends? Well, firstly, we work with 73% of the world's top-rated higher education organizations, and that's according to Times Higher Education, so that's not just a made-up number. And basically that means that we're at the heart of everything that's going on in higher education. So we understand the trends, and we're there to reimagine education to help deliver a better learning experience. And it's because of that work that we actually work with over 2,500 corporate and government organizations to help them make their people more proficient at everything that they do. So the first trend, as I said, we're going to talk about is competency-based learning and creating outcomes through competency-based learning. So why is there the drivers for change? Well, firstly, the way that people consume information on their everyday life has completely changed. With the advent of Amazon and with Google and of those sort of websites and Facebook, people want their information, that it's personal to them, on the device that they choose, and they want a consumer preference model. And that means that basically they want the information that they require at the time that they want it, and they want to be able to see what other people are doing and what other information they're receiving, and be able to follow that person and be able to connect with that person and have a very collaborative learning experience. And that means that learning has become much more learner-centric. So rather than course-centric or organizational-centric, it's down to the learner to be able to take what they want from the learning experience and be able to share their knowledge and be able to connect with other people to have a very collaborative learning experience. So what does that mean for learning delivery? Well, firstly, as I said, learners want to be connected to each other. They want to be able to create profiles. They want to be able to show their own competencies, and they want to be able to collaborate with other learners, and they want to have links, or they want to use that information to link to employers and to placements and advancements in their own skills. And so what is competency-based learning? Well, competency-based learning enables people to master skills at their own pace. And it enables you to create multiple pathways to the same outcomes. And it enables you to take advantage of learning opportunities outside both formal learning and informal learning. So for instance, somebody might be going through a formal course, but they actually want to use their informal learning and the knowledge that they have from other areas of their life to actually show their competency and move through the course that you're providing. And it also enables employers, and for yourselves as learning and development professionals, it enables you to identify competencies that people have or areas where they need to improve. And it enables you to provide a very personalized, tailored path to how they can improve themselves. And that presents an opportunity to achieve greater productivity and greater efficiency within your staff base. So there are three types of competency-based learning. There's individualized, which basically enables somebody to pick up the content in their own time and go through the course at their own pace, but the learning outcomes are the same, no matter who you are going through that course. Secondly, there's differentiated learning, and again, the outcomes and the goals are the same. But actually what they're able to do is to choose their path, because people have different learning styles, right? Some people like to be in a classroom, some people like to do things online by themselves, and other people like to do a blended approach. And so what we enable through a differentiated approach is actually enabling somebody to choose not only the style that they learn in, but also the materials that they're going to use and access, and the way they're going to connect with other people to actually achieve those goals. And then thirdly, there's personalized. And what this enables you to do is use both individualized and differentiated competency-based learning to enable that personalized individual to get the outcome that they require. So it may be that they want a slightly different outcome, or they want to gain some different knowledge to somebody else, but actually go through very much the same material. And then, so what are the characteristics? Well, firstly, it's learner-centric. So rather than being course-centric, it's down to the learner to decide what they're looking to achieve. Secondly, there's a direct way of being able to show the competency. So rather than just saying, well, hey, we've got 10 questions, and we're going to go through the same 10 questions and see if you get 8 out of 10, and if you get 8 out of 10, well, hey, you've mastered that knowledge. It's actually been able to show that you can apply the knowledge from the course directly to your day job, and that enables people to practice their skills and become better at that way of learning. And then there's differentiated. And how do we differentiate? Now, it could be that it's actually just that there's a different instructor taking you through a course, or it could be that there's slightly different materials. Or in fact, what you could do is actually say, well, what we're going to do is show a real active learning experience where the change is actually adaptive activity. So depending on how a learner interacts with content, we're actually going to deliver them some additional information and content which is pertinent to them. And I think that that's a really important way of actually starting to achieve some real differences in the way that businesses work. And so we've worked with organizations, so pharmaceutical organizations, banking industry, and professional associations to help them bring this sort of framework of competency-based learning to the fore. And the way that that's helped them is by actually enabling the individual to actually become better at what they're doing. And so if you want to find out more about the frameworks that we can put in place, please come and see us at stand 24. So what is kind of the purpose of competency-based learning? Well, basically it means a more efficient learning process. So rather than everybody going through the same course and everybody coming into a training room, what we're doing is we're saying we're going to allow you to learn at your own pace, and that's going to reduce the costs of training. It's going to increase the success rate because people are getting learning to the ability that they start at. And you can align that with the job and the career that they're pursuing. And the results of that really improve the learning experience, and it improves the learning success rate. And it develops a 21st century lifelong learning. So instead of we're just doing a course at a time, we're actually developing a proper continuous learning environment. And we'll go on to that in a second. So that really is competency-based learning, just from a theory sort of point of view. But out of competency-based learning has come a new technology, open badges. And I'm sure you've heard quite a lot of open badges today. And we'll talk about what those are and what are open badges. Well, Blackboard are a founding member of the Badge Alliance. So we worked with Mozilla to create the Mozilla Open Badge Network, where basically people can use the competency-based learning and be able to gain badges, so competency-based badges that they can then put to a framework. So if you're ever in the Scouts or Girl Guides or something like that, and you would get a badge for lighting a fire, you'd sew your badge to your arm, or your jersey even, rather than your arm directly. And in the same way, Mozilla Open Badges work in that you can add that badge directly to an open backpack, which you can then share with other people. So people can see your competencies, And that's a really useful tool, and we'll go on to why that's useful in a second. But basically it allows you to take ownership of learning. It's portable evidence of learning achievement. And it allows you to really reflect on what learning you've completed and where you want to go in your career and how you're going to get there. And for employers, it provides them with an improved ability to actually see the competencies that their people have. So what challenges do open badges address? Well, we all know that there's a big problem with graduates these days finding jobs and being underemployed. And that's really because when you go out looking for a new job, you'll find that somebody will say, well, what degree do you have? And you tell them what degree you have, but it doesn't actually tell them anything. It just says, well, I've got a piece of paper. And you want to be able to prove your competencies. And so that's what open badges allow you to do. And we're finding that because of the stresses and strains that people have in the job market, that employers are spending less and less time going to universities and helping them with career services and those sort of things. And then thirdly, for corporates, they've got an inability to identify and connect with competent candidates, and they're unable to identify the competency levels within their own organisation. And so open badges allows you to do that very simply. And so what we've done is we've embedded this directly into our own technology. And so for public profiles of learners, you can tell your story. So you can tell people, what skills you have, and you can match to different jobs and employers that are looking for those skills that you're after. And I think that this is going to be a big trend in the next 3 to 5 years. And so for an employer, you can do self-service job posting, you can look for talent, and you can scout for it and really bring people into your organisation that are going to really make a difference. And for a learner, what they can do is they actually have a really lifelong learning of achievement. So they get to see what they've done, and they can take that profile with them wherever they go, and they can show the competencies that they've achieved throughout the training and development that you've provided them. And so moving on, we're looking at a single place for all learning. So we've talked about competency-based learning, we've talked about open badges, and we've talked about how people want things mobile, they want to connect with people, they want to be able to discuss things with people. And traditionally what's happened with that is we've found that people will use multiple platforms, and that's difficult for learners because they've got to remember multiple logins, they've got to go into different places to go and get their learning. And from a training perspective, you've got multiple databases to look at your learners. You've got to go, right, well, I want to see what people have done in their training, in their classroom-based training. I want to see who's gone through what training there. Then I want to see what e-learning they've done. And then I want to see what sort of informal learning they're doing. And actually bringing that all into one place is a big driver in higher education, and it should be in corporate learning and development as well. So what are the observable trends? Well, firstly, you can all read that, but by 2020, nearly half the workforce are going to be millennials, and they are used to, and they expect to get learning on their mobile device. They expect to be integrated and connected with others, and they expect to be able to get onto one system where everything is happening, rather than going into multiple places. And no longer do they believe that they are a group of millennials. That's not what they believe they are. They believe they're an individual, and they want it personalized to them. They don't want to go through an accountancy degree, which everybody else is going through. They want to get information that is pertinent just to themselves, so that they become more effective in the things that they do. And learners now choose where, when, and how they learn. So they might be enrolled in multiple institutions. They might, follow different employers. They might go ahead and do things like MOOCs and so forth. And so, Blackboard have a free MOOC platform. So if you wanted to do corporate MOOCs, you can get on there and you can create your own MOOC to really bring people into to your organization. And so all of this sort of brings together some challenges, because you have this new learner who is doing lots of different things, and you want to be able to capture all of that information. And so you need something more than just the LMS. Okay, you need something more than just the learning management system. You need to be able to bring it all together. So you need to be able to have a social network, virtual conferencing, learning activities, badging, competencies, and so forth. So it all brings together in one single unified system. And it could be that you have multiple systems doing this, but you need to integrate them tightly so that they can really work together and provide people with a true learning path through what through the learning life cycle. And so the tips are for this is really enabling your organization to reach learners regardless of the time and location. So obviously mobile sort of learning. Providing people with the access to the content which is actually pertinent again to them to make them more effective, more efficient in everything they do. And then I would suggest partnering with universities, to enable you to get to those people who are looking for job opportunities, the next people who are going to be skilled in the workforce for yourselves. And so what are Blackboard doing in this area? Well, we've seen a number of the things, so competency-based learning and Mozilla Open Badges, but actually one of the big things is actually pulling it all together. So you have a competency-based framework within the LMS, you have collaborative learning, you have social learning, you have mobile learning, all in the single place. And it enables you to bring in recruitment and talent management solutions as well. And integrating with other platforms as well, whether it's your CRM solution or your HR platform and so forth. So you have one data source so you can really make proper business decisions. So in summary, we've talked about the three trends that you shouldn't ignore. So competency-based learning, open badges, and a single place for all learning. And the big messages that I wanted to leave you with is, learning and the workforce are changing. And therefore you need an open and connected ecosystem of learning. So not just housed within your own organization, but looking outside. Remember, learning is for the individual, not just for groups of people and for the organization. Really push it down into the individual needs. Keep it in a single place. And if you want to find out more about what Blackboard are doing in this area, either come and see us at Stand 24 around the corner, or drop us a line on email, LinkedIn, or Twitter. Thank you, everybody.